we average about $2,100 per applicant that enters an awards program, and it generates fairly consistent revenue. Now, when we entered Charlotte, it was lower, spent less on the event. New Jersey was much higher, but on the average, about $2,100.
These purely awards like Entrepreneur of the Year or Deal of the Year, is this purely awards?
Yep. So we go through a whole nomination process, and say for each 50, we end up with 60 companies in it, but we probably have about 90 companies apply. That 30 of them out, the remaining 60, hey, congratulations, you're in, what do you want to buy? And we got a whole bunch of things they could buy as much as $9,000 from us. Videos, plaques, ads, yeah, for average about 2,100.
So I'm a company in Baltimore. People nominate me to get the award, or I nominate myself?
You could self-nominate. We typically would form a committee. So let's say there's 12 people on the committee, and we're all doing our outreach, trying to find the next fast growth.
Or other community members could nominate me, I guess, right?
Yep.
The whole community, as whatever you want to call it, business exec, local executive of the year, or whatever.
Yep.
That's the award. And then once selected, I pay, or?
Yeah, so we do require that if you're going to be in the awards program, when you show up, until you buy at least one ticket. And the reason we changed that model, actually changed that model about 10 years ago, is we used to just give the winners a free ticket. And we'd be up on stage announcing winners, and 25% of them just wouldn't even show. And it wasn't fair to the other winners, it wasn't fair to the sponsors, and it just created a disruption in the event. And I said, you know what, man, like, I take a $95 ticket and show. And so we actually have an awards participation agreement that they sign. And it's amazing. Like,
then if they're not willing to buy the ticket, then they don't get the award.
Well, there are times we'll still put it in the magazine, but we just know that at the event you're not going to announce them, and like you're not in.
And then I assume that I'm supposed to invite people to attend my table or something like that.
It's a PR play. It's an internal HR play. So what happens is
like customers you invite, whatever.
Yeah, we had somebody in DC bought 3 tables, government contract, members of the government. And they didn't win. Like, so sometimes they have winners, and he was not
So like if I'm getting a award, I can invite my bank, or I can invite my lawyer, accountant, and all that sort of stuff, and then.
I'm a key customer.
Yes.
Key customers.
Yeah.
Whatever. Right. Okay, that's important.
Yeah.
I think you probably get a lot of that too from sometimes your clients, right? They expect you to think
Yeah, there's many of these. I see more like Deal of the Year award.
Yeah.
If you get that, then if you're in the deal business, you're happy to attend as a lawyer, a banker, and if you're the client, you're usually happy to pay for recognition.
Well, it's sort of a client relationship.
Yeah.
Decision.
And
if it's a valuable client, you sort of do it as part of your business.
And what's great about the awards, I'll just like put in, is that he sets up the magazine. I don't know if you had the Boston Awards, so there's a magazine already for all the winners, so even before they show up, and there's none of this kind of, suspense of who wins or not. So everybody who shows up is getting awarded, and they know about it, and you have the magazine already published with all the winners and stuff. We had that in Boston with the governor of Massachusetts, who went really well. So it's a really unique model, and it brings a lot of value added on the event space. I mean, it's different than everybody else. It's better. But that's what I'm saying, that this is the kind of stuff that, because nobody likes to be there and wait till somebody else and sits on the table in suspense, because nobody has time. But once you're awarded, because you are a good CEO, you're awarded for your merits, nothing else.
But that's how you make money, right? You make money on the ticket sales, I guess.
It's for 2017, it's likely to be about half of our revenue, about $3 million.
But that's how you make money on the event through the ticket sales, right? You have to pay for the venue.
Ticket sales as opposed to sponsorships?
Well, that's marketing services. So then the next thing that we have is marketing services, and I look at the sponsorship as a marketing service. We also have digital marketing services, content campaigns, webinar campaigns, things of that sort. A sponsorship is essentially a form of marketing, branding that includes direct access, and we've actually created a really unique way for people to gain access. So if you sign up as a sponsor, you're probably going to get about 4 or 5 touches with the group of winners. What we ask of the sponsor is be tactful. We don't want any of our CEOs to ever walk into a room and feel like they got a bullseye in their head, like we keep up. But at the same time, they understand there's got to be sponsors, and some great amazing relationships have happened by marrying people together in that way.
So I have a friend who's a general counsel of a public company in
it's not like
you know, besieging.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't go unless you're a sponsor or maybe you've been invited as a guest.
Yeah.
So we will not sell you a general ticket.
Yeah.
But you could be what's termed a strategic partner of a winner. We might reach out to you, maybe your client mentions you and say, hey, my teach my attorney will call and say,
Yeah.
hey, you know, hey, come out.
Right.
Something like that. But we don't want to be like Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year in that way, where you walk in and you got 24 CEOs, every banker in town, every attorney in town is there.
Right.
and the
That's
CEO
very comfortable.
Yeah, so we protect our CEO community. Most of the attendees are also other CEOs, so like every one of our events will have the winners, but then we also invite 50 to another 100 CEOs out. It's a place for them to meet and have fun. So, and then the third piece is the platform, which is being developed, and we can't wait to launch it. So that's the third piece that we think is going to really scale us.
Yeah.
Platform meaning the new digital interface, the website.
Yeah, the membership platform. Yep. A little history about me. It's my second company. My first company was called Computer User. I started that when I was 26. Do you remember Computer User? We were here in DC. Yeah. So it was a free regional computer magazine. We ended up being in 26 cities when it was all said and done. I sold it to the Opperman family up in Minneapolis. Dwight Vance, the Westlaw guys. And when they gave us money, we scaled the hell out of it. Now, part of that money was through acquisition. So we went out and bought Computer Currents, we went out and bought Microtimes. Part of it was we just launched. We launched everywhere because the fear of launching went away, and we ended up doing very, very well.
Right.
Great. So I sold that.
What year was that sale?
It was, so I started here.
2000.
8 years after I started, so
Yeah.
it was about 2 years before the dot-com bubble burst. So I got very
Yeah.
fortunate. Didn't realize.
Yeah.
But they actually took all those assets, so eventually Computer User faded away because of the dot-com bubble. But all those assets went into a product called SuperLawyers. So all my employees now work for SuperLawyers. They probably, you're probably named a SuperLawyer and every once in a while.
That.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing here. We've had a steady amount of growth. We're kind of hovering around 5 million, and that was when we started saying, okay, it's not just an investment. Let's start to scale this thing. So that's the mission right now, is get the investment and really get this thing going, get it across the country.
So that bar that's going way up, those are your projections?
Yeah, the hockey stick hasn't happened yet. We're gonna make the hockey stick happen. But that did happen. So the team, I've got a very solid, loyal team that have been with me for years. They're mostly event-focused and content-focused people. So one of the, and I can go through the details of each one if you have questions. Just know that they've been with me a long time. They're committed to the brand. They fight alongside of me. They're an amazing group of people. But I think on the content side, the platform, I'm going to have to add one more really key person to drive that successful platform. So, but in terms of the events, we could take the events nationwide with the team we have right now.
Do any of these other people own equity in the company, or just you?
She has what are termed equity participation units. She has some EPUs. The other two do not. But I have a couple of key market directors that have EPUs that are tied to their specific markets. So I have it kind of sprinkled around, but it's all based on, it's tied to my equity. It's not tied to anybody else's. And it's based on a transaction that we're having. So that if they leave the company, they walk away from it. So I talked about the secret sauce, the events. It's hard to convey what our events are like. So I have videos if you want to watch.
You just went to one, right?
Yeah, I just want to know when they're Boston, yeah.
Yeah. Our big one is Future 50. So I've got links to the key three.
Yeah.
Key three for us is Future 50, which is growth companies. We've got Bravo, which is all about women in business. And the Corporate Culture Awards is the other one that we can take it to any city and people just respond really well to it. We also have a ton of other events that we could add to cities. Family business is great. We've been talking about a diversity event. We've never actually done one. But we have done a thing called Executive Answer Awards, where we honor not the CEO, the next person in line. That's a great event. I think the other, Telstar, government contracting business, their event down here in DC is our largest event. And then we do custom events for people. So like as we enter cities and hire a market director for that city, their initial mission is the 3 key events. If they get good at it, then we'll continue to fund them for further growth in that market. The really, it's about attracting CEOs in. This year alone, 2016, we'll have 2,000 companies come through our awards program. That's important when you start thinking about the data play. It's important when you start thinking about onboarding them into this platform.
So when they're a guest at one of your events, they get offered a subscription or something, or?
Right now, what they get is they get a profile on SmartCEO.com, and it's amazing the impact. We have a domain. Our domain authority is not even high. It's like 65. It's growing. It's getting powerful. But just because we have a 65 domain authority, and we do a profile, then if you Google one of our winners, SmartCEO is right there on page 1 with them. We're now part of their search immediately. But so the idea is that
So they get that for free. They're
yes, but it's part of being in the awards program.
Or they get a listing or whatever.
Yeah, so we experimented with this with Future 50 last year to see if this would work in the future. What we did is we had our team call every single winner of Future 50 to see how long it would take to do it. So they called every single one and walked them through their profile. How do you share it? What do you use it for? The reason why we did it is to see, one, how hard it would be, and then two, how could we integrate the platform sale into it.
Okay.
And so what we
First thing is the listing, and then the idea is like, then maybe they'll subscribe. Once you get the listing, is that?
we want all of them to become members of our platform. And
But you don't push that at the event. You get the listing, and then afterwards, then they're.
No.
correct. Yeah, we'll give them 30 days up front to use it or something like that. Get them in there, get them using it.
Okay, you're not trying to force a sale at the event. You're just going to get them listed, and then.
Yep. Yeah, we mention it at each event right now.
Right.
Participation, like the 20 SmartCEO membership.
Okay.
So there's videos I can click on the links if you really want to see on that. But we are very good at it. Like, we are, like you said, we're different. It's
Fun.
impactful.
Yeah. Okay.
So this short run goal is to roll this out quickly. We had our first board meeting to talk about this plan. The board was like, if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it, because people start to figure out what you're doing and they will implement you very, very quickly. So the goal is to get capitalized so that we can roll this thing across the country. When we enter a city, we're rolling out the 3 events. Doesn't matter when we get that key hire. We've got Future 50 is a Q1 event, Rob is a Q2/Q3 event, and Corporate Culture is a Q4 event. So if we onboard somebody in June, then maybe we'll start with Corporate Culture in that city. If we onboard somebody in November, we're starting with Future 50. It's all lined up.
How many competitors do you typically have in the city, or are there any competitors?
Every city there's competitors. The Business Journal is a competitor for awards programs. The Chambers of Commerces are, the tech councils are. Like, there's a lot of people doing awards. It has not impacted us ever. We've always been. Sometimes it's good lead gen for us. We go, if there's already stuff going on there, we can look at their list.
So it's not the type of sector that's tapped out in terms of add more. There's still a lot of potential.
I believe so. You know, I've never experienced a challenge on it yet. Finding amazing companies. I mean, you figure we're only honoring 200 in a city, but every city we go into, there's hundreds of thousands of great companies.
And your market is companies that are above $1 million in sales?
Well, our sweet spot's 5 million to 250. Brava scales a little bit smaller with the women-owned companies. So, you know, we'll go down to 2.5.
Okay, but your idea is 5 to 250, you said?
Yeah, that's our real sweet spot.
Association of Corporate Growth, is that a competitor?
No, we work with them. So everybody like a Visage, ACG, we are a feeder system for them. So we partner with them, and we bring CEOs in, or magnet for CEOs, and we transfer audience. So we work closely with ACG in almost every city. DC, it's been a while since we've worked with them. They're pretty close off. Like it's hard to get in. Right. Also, we work with them in Baltimore, we work with them in New York.
YPO?
YPO, we've had discussions about working with them. They're actually listening here as a competitor on the platform side. YPO is still different. They do peer groups, right? So it's 8 to 10 people in a room, and yeah. So we are, again, we'll have 800 to 1,000 members in the city. So we're still a feeder system for YPO as well.
Okay.
But in terms of a place for them to reside, they could reside in YPO or Vistage or wherever.
Okay.
But this is kind of the city by city rollout plan. This talks, I mentioned this earlier, about the growing domain